Happy Monday. This is Coach Rice. I just want to first of all just continue to salute the veterans and say happy Veterans Day once again. I'm going to be doing that on every last one of my shows today because you guys deserve to be honored for your service, for your dedication, and just the fact that, you know, you're awesome actually, to go out and do what you do. And I'm so excited about the guest that I have today. I saw an interview he did on another platform that I'm on, which is Be Awesome Network. And when I saw his interview, I was fascinated with his story. And I just wanted to introduce him to my listeners. And his name is David Schubert. Just to give you a little background about him that I know, he is the driving force behind Omnibus and Spirit Led Media, an internationally acclaimed coach, speaker, and a best selling author with multiple awards as an entrepreneur. He is an awesome coach. He he had an appearance on two reality TV shows for entrepreneurs where he stood out among over 100,000 applicants. That's pretty big. And also, he is guiding over 1,500 coaches around the world. So, Devin, I just want to introduce you. They also call him the Orange Man, and he will tell you all about that. So I just want you to tell the audience about yourself. What you are a coach. You are the type of coach that most of all of our coaches need. Tell us what made you become a coach in the field that you're in.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, you know, I just want to give, first off, you props, Coach Rice, because you took a step and you asked about having me on this show. And I'll tell you, I say no to a lot of people and a lot of different opportunities. And, it's because of your authenticity, your character of who you are, that really immediately gave me a yes, to be able to say that. So this is just a prime example of you never know if you don't ask. You never will build your business if you don't step out. And what's the worst that somebody could do? Say no. Okay, then what? Okay, you move on. Maybe you have a little baby fit or something in the bathtub or something. I don't know. But you continue to just move on with life. And so you're a great example for each of your listeners to be able to say, you know what? It's always worth an ask. So I
Thank
just wanted
you.
to start with that.
That's encouraging for me. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for me, my driving force, yeah, I have a bunch of accolades and things, and honestly, it's just been over the last 3 years that that's happened, because I went through a near-death experience with one of my adopted children, and because of that, I began to say I need to make sure that I'm leaving a legacy for my kids, and not only for my kids, but with my kids, and not only with my kids but everybody that comes into contact with me. And
Okay.
so I recognized that that meant there is things inside of me. There's growth, there's leadership, there's entrepreneurial skills that I get to pass on to other people. And who am I to say no and hold that within me? And that's what I saw and see a lot of people doing is the things that they have inside of them, they take them to the grave with them. And then what? Nothing.
That's
Nothing's
true.
passed on.
It's a lot of talent in the grave.
Hmm.
And now I'm gonna be transparent. It took a lot for me to step out, even though God gave me a gift. But it took a lot for me to step out, and if I would not have taken that step, I would have been the same way. Talent in the grave.
Hmm. Hmm.
So tell
Yeah,
me
and I
about.
believe
Oh,
I
go
believe
ahead.
that that first step is the reason why people's businesses don't grow, and a part of why having a coach or somebody alongside of you as a mentor or a leader is because you have a lack of clarity. You don't know what you're going for or why you're going for it. Those two things are so important. And when you're building a business, you're building a ministry, or you're just living your life, if you don't have clarity as to why you're doing what you're doing, why are you doing it? And
That's
so
so true.
startups, those are the huge things, clarity. And when people are scaling their business, the reason why those those fail is because you're just not a good leader. You don't know how to lead. And it's nothing against you. You maybe weren't taught, maybe you weren't raised that way. But those are the two things in business that I see over the years of building businesses and ministries, of why they don't grow is because you have lack of clarity and a lack of leadership skills.
That is so true. So tell the audience about your near death experience
Yeah.
that you mentioned.
So I have three adopted children, divorced 9 years ago. And so one of those boys, he is 16 now, and he got very physically aggressive and had some other types of outbursts that really took him to the point to where my ex-wife couldn't handle him anymore, as we shared 50-50. And as being adopted from foster care, there's prior traumas that people have, and he had some of those abandonment issues before we had adopted him, and through that, he had never had a mother figure even that stayed in his life, and so when that happened, he really went off the deep end. And I knew that my one and only assignment, above all the nine ministries and 50, or nine churches and 15 ministries that I had helped start. I started a foster care system through the churches across the state of Iowa. None of those things mattered because my one and only assignment was my son. And when I took that on, I didn't recognize how much of a yes that actually costs. When we say yes to something and we go all in, there's a cost of a lot of no's that get to come along with it. And for me, it was give up everything. And that meant ministries, that meant businesses that I had, that meant my family, that meant friends, relationships, everything. Because he got so aggressive that we ended up not leaving our house for like 6 weeks straight because of the outbursts, because there was no triggers. He would just go off, and it would be 30-minute restraint holds until the police showed up. It would take 6 to 7 officers to be able to restrain him, and he's not a big kid. He's a scrawny little kid, but if you know anything about trauma, that when those endorphins get going, they got 7 to 10 times the amount of strength that they normally have. And when they're skinny and scrawny, man, he's like a little worm. He's everywhere, everywhere, all over the place.
Yes.
And it was through
Yeah.
that.
So as a
It was through,
parent, you going
yeah.
through that. What was what was your mental health like?
I'll tell you that there was most days that I wanted to just give up. I actually had a consultant that I paid a decent amount of money that told me afterwards I would have taken him and dropped him off at the police station and told them to deal with it. And I was like, what? Like, yep. I would never allow any of my kids to ruin my life. And I was like, well, first
Wow.
off, you're a bad dad. And second off, I bet you don't even have kids. And he's like, oh, that's not for you to know. And I said, well, I'm done with this call. He can keep the
Wow.
money because I don't want to have anything else to do with it. When people aren't in the scenario, people don't understand. And for parents, I know that you understand your love for your kids.
Oof.
And when we say that we would give everything up for our kids, most of us mean that. And when you're brought to that brink of will I really give up my job? My job said at one point said you either need to choose to come into work or you need to stay home with your son. Easy. Goodbye. I don't need to pray about it. I don't know. Like the answer is goodbye. And so the only thing that kept me alive during those times was that God had told me your one and only assignment is your son.
Wow.
And as long as I was a dad, I was fulfilling my purpose. I knew with crystal clear clarity that I was doing what my God given purpose was to be a dad. And it was hard. I mean, I didn't sleep. I hardly ever slept. We had 27 cameras in and outside of our house. Number one, to keep everything safe, everybody safe, including him and me, because who knew what allegations he was going to go to school saying was going to happen during one of those restraint holds. And so, all those things, I got diagnosed 2 years into it with complex post traumatic stress disorder, CPTSD.
Wow.
And they told me 2 years into the 5 years of him and I being alone together that I wouldn't make it another 6 months without getting extra help.
Kudos to you as an you adopted this young you adopted children, but you not just adopted them, you took on the role of parenthood in the most serious way. You did not say, I just want to adopt just to be a good person. You really took on heart of adoption. That right there says a lot. And I say that because I'm a parent, and the closest you can get to understanding the love of God is through parenthood,
Mm-hmm.
especially your experience because we are adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And you went all in, and I just want to just commend you for that, because I can understand why it's normal to have the diagnosis you had after what you've been through. That is a traumatic experience, but the love that you have shown for that young man,
Mm-hmm.
and the cost that what it cost you is nothing to you as a parent, but everything to him as your child. So sometimes people don't understand. They always have an opinion about how to raise your children, and they don't understand where you come from or what it takes to do what you do. And I love how you listen to the calling of God on your life during that time, because when you in ministry, sometimes you have to, your household come first, and that's what you did as well. So I'm just, when I heard your story, that's what made me say, I want to get to know who is Devin, and I want to get to know him better. I want to build a relationship. And so I said, let me have him on. I want to ask him if he'd come on my show. But kudos to you and so is that what kind of drove you into the coaching world?
Yeah, so it was during that season that I recognized that I'd already given up everything. So what else is there to do? Um, and we had an incident one time, and after every restraint hold the police were called, we had to go to the hospital. And it was during that last hospital visit that I found myself in the hospital bed, and I was given 3 months left to live because the trauma had stopped my mind, my brain, and my nervous system from communicating. And there was nothing that they could do at that point. And long story short, Jesus entered into my room over the next couple of weeks and gave me this new mission. And he said, Devin, it's not time for you to come home yet, but you have a story. You have a story to tell. And because of the story that you have to tell, and because you gave up the 99 to save the one, now I'm going to give you the 99 to go to the nations to share your story.
Wow.
And you're going to not allow anything to hold people back from sharing their story, because each and every person on this call that'll listen to it in the future has got something to share. And that left something inside of me that was like, okay, I have a new mission. It's not new as in I'm still not called to be a father. I'm still, my first and only assignment is my son. But now I have an additional thing that I'm building alongside of that. And that is to help people share their stories, especially across social media. I've been on tons of stages. I've been on stages with Eric Thomas. I've been on stages with Willie Robertson. I've been on the entrepreneurial TV shows. Great. And you know what? Most people may never experience that. But let me tell you one thing that everybody does have. This.
Yes.
This thing, it may not be orange like mine, but we all got the cell phone. And you know what? This right here has the opportunity just on Facebook alone to reach 2.9 billion people a month. And so when I recognized that we have a stage in front of us to be able to share our story, how could I not bring the 99, which I believe is called to be a million people to share their stories across social media? How can I not bring people along with me on this mission? I have to. And so that's where the coaching kind of began.
That is true. I like that. And you know what I like about it is biblical. What the Holy Spirit spoke to you is aligned with the word of God. And you followed it, and now your mission starts. So how what is your onboarding process when you do take on a client?
Yeah, so over the last 3 years, it has changed so many different times, so many different ways. And right now, it's in the midst of a big process change as well, because I'm launching a whole new show.
Mm.
Whether it's just going to be a podcast on YouTube or a podcast on Spotify, but I guarantee you that it's going to eventually become a TV show. And so I'm kind of figuring out how that all works, to be able to help get these million people. And so most of the time, it is all through organic relationships. I have a website, I have all those things that coaches need, but you know what? It's the relationship, just like you. You reached out and you asked. And every single thing that I have been on has been because I've reached out and I've asked. Wow. It hasn't been because I had $1,000 a day Facebook ads. It hasn't been because I paid to get on all these things. It's because I asked, and because of the relationship that I build with people first, the opportunity presents itself.
Right. And you know what? That is so true, because like even just I just met you. I saw you on the show. You gave some great information in the master class. And guess what? I'm using it now because I did a show earlier and I noticed I was too low in the video. And so I was like, wait a minute, my husband helped me fix it. I gotta fix this. I'm too low. and so though, things like that you're teaching, coaches need. And sometimes they have to, you have to build a relationship to trust in these days, because like you had a consultant, you paid money and they gave you really terrible information. I don't know how many people I paid and got bad information as well. And that's what made me launch a program to actually mentor coaches, not get certified, but mentor the certified coaches that's new, so they won't go through the things that I've been through, but we can learn together. And so that's kind of, why build, like you said, building relationships. And so now you're starting up something new and exciting for yourself. Yeah. I know you got an event coming up. I want you to tell us about that event.
Of which, what was it again?
An event that you have coming up. I signed up for it actually.
Let's see. Is it the Tamara Lowe one, or is it the one I just posted on my Facebook?
The one you just posted.
Okay, so my guess is as the Kingdom Summit.
Yes.
Kingdom Influencer Summit.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So we actually
Kingdom
just
is now,
announced,
right?
Yeah, kingdomnow.com.
Yeah, kingdomnow.com, yes.
Kingdomnow.com, yeah. So that's an event that is for Kingdom people that want to be influencers. And what does that look like? And we actually just announced, I got the call just before this, that the winner of the first ever Great American Speak Off is going to be one of the key speakers on that as well, along with me and Tamara Lowe, another 9-figure entrepreneur, business builder, Pat Quinn, who's the storyteller of everybody. Great lineup. And this is just an awesome opportunity with my great, amazing friend, Summer Day. We do all types of events and things together. She's just rocking the world of getting 1 billion people to read through the Bible in a year.
What?
Yeah.
That's
she's got
kingdom
a TV
business
show.
right there. That's kingdom business.
Read the Bible. Absolutely. It's kingdom business through and through. And, these are the types of opportunities that when you build your business on kingdom principles, the favor of God follows. It has to, because that's what the Bible tells us, is that you will live in abundance.
Yes.
When you follow the principles.
So have you ever had a client where they're afraid to live in abundance based off of maybe the way they interpret scripture.
Yeah, so I would say there's two types of people. There's those that are have the fear of failure, and then there's those that have the fear of success. The fear of success people actually don't recognize it right away because they don't see that what happens if I do get that big client? Oh, I'm gonna have to fulfill it. Oh man, what if I'm not good enough? What if I don't do a good enough job? Am I really worth a $5,000 90-day program? I don't know. That's a fear of success. And so we're not walking in both of those ways are the extreme of not walking in the abundance that God has called us to. And so when we build on those kingdom principles, it breaks those because we're built on truth. And we allow people to come in and speak truth into our lives. And one of the things I hear the most is, well, I don't have a traumatic story like you do. Good. Awesome. Congratulations. Guess what? I wish I didn't have to go through what I did in order to get where I'm at.
Right.
And guess what? You don't have to either. Because here's the thing. I'm going to reach some people just like you started off with. I'm going to be able to reach some people that you can't.
Right.
And you know what? There's going to be those people that have never been through a traumatic experience. And you know who they need to hear it from? You. They need to hear your story that maybe you were a pastor's kid, you lived a sheltered life, you never did anything wrong, you're like Jesus' twin brother. I don't know what it is because I didn't live that life. But let me tell you, people need to hear your story. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have something really bad going on or you've lived a great life. Awesome.
That
the point
is true.
Is that you share it. And Revelation 12:11 tells us that the prophecy of the testimony of Jesus in our lives is what's going to change people. So you still have a testimony.
Yeah.
You have something that you get to share. And if you don't, you're going to be judged because you didn't. Whether you believe in God or not, you're still going to be judged. So you might as well share something purposeful about your
Right. Exactly. Especially if it's going to help someone. A lot of times there's shame connected to, if I tell my story, what would other people think? You know, and shame is one of the things that causes us to hide, and anything hidden can't be healed. And so we have to come out and share our stories so that people can get the help they need. So that not only that, I'm sure in the business that you're in, you have heard stories that caused you to grow within your own context, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all about us coming together, sharing to help each other move forward, as well as learning from each other. Because since I changed my podcast, I was on just talking to people, period. And I was like, I'm an extrovert. So I'm like, I'm lonely. I need somebody to talk to. So the Be Awesome Network really helped me with that. And help me get out there and help me meet some amazing people. And so when you vet your clients, how do you handle, like, even when people come to you as well, where you find people who come to you and just want to just sell, that's all you see. So when you come along, you almost look like the same thing. You almost look like you're doing the same thing. How do you avoid that in the field that you're in?
Yeah, so give you the secrets to the inside of what I do. We actually build relationships for the first 18 days that we talk to somebody. I will never pitch anybody within the first 18 days of getting to know somebody. Why? Because they need to like, know, and trust. You know, most coaches know that. They need to like, know, and trust us. That's not going to happen in the first 3 to 5 opportunities of having a conversation. Now, with YouTube and podcasts like this, people are getting to know you, and that trust is building a lot faster. But after those 18 to 20 days, then you can say, hey, you know what? I just want to share, and maybe this isn't for you. It is. But maybe it's not for you.
Right.
But this is what I would love to share with you. And then I tell them a little bit about it. And I'd love to hop on a call. and be able to have a conversation with you about it. Again, maybe this isn't for you, but maybe you know somebody who it could use it. I'll tell you, I hardly ever get ghosted doing that. And I hardly ever have somebody come back and say, "Oh, well, you only built a relationship with me for 18 days." No, they didn't remember when we met because of the conversations we've had.
Right, because
No,
it's authentic, right?
it's authentic. And there is nothing that I care about in return. There is nothing. Like if they say, "No, I'm not interested." Cool. What's your next week look like? Are you busy? You got things going on? How's the family? We built that relationship to continue that conversation on after that. So what? If it didn't happen, no means not right now. Doesn't mean later. I've had people that have watched me for 3 years and then have bought into my program. I've had people that saw me and paid 5 grand just to work with me and have a meeting with me. They didn't know who I was, but somehow it built that credibility really fast. Some other times it takes a long time for people to watch you, and that's okay. Build the relationships with nothing in return.
So you're an author as well.
I have been a part of a book and my own book. It is Authenticity Today,
Oh,
but I also have an international bestseller with Summer Day, where we share our stories.
nice, nice. Now, when you first started writing books, did you see yourself in actually doing that in the future?
No, actually, I don't like writing at all. This book here, this is not normal. I wrote this entire book in 48 hours. I sat
Really?
down and I just wrote. And then I sent it off to an editor, and all those things you're supposed to do. And the book is called Authenticity Today, God's motive, the motive God is searching for. I sent it off to the editor. It came back with all these red marks. I was so frustrated, and I hate doing editing and all that stuff. Like, just change it. If you're gonna change something, just change it. Like, I don't need to do it. And I got done doing all the editing process. And you want to know what the Lord told me? What's the name of your book? Authenticity Today. Then why did you change all the words that I told you to write in it? I went
Oh,
right back
wow.
to the exact thing that I wrote at the very beginning, and I published it. Now, I'm not saying everybody should do that, but know
Right.
your purpose and why you're writing your book. For me, it was to release the motive of God's heart. Ain't nobody
Mm.
else going to tell me what the motive of God's heart is except for God. So
Right.
why get somebody else's opinion? Now, the other books that I've helped write, it's all about making sure that it's put together well so that I can, meet other people and be able to utilize it more as a connection point. So then, yeah, we had some more publicity. We had editors and all those things as well.
Now,
So
are you planning
uh,
on writing any other books?
I actually am in the process of putting together an outline for my next book, all about kingdom influence and what that looks like
Nice.
in the world today because we need it. The kingdom has got God's people, coaches, business owners, especially in the marketplace. We have got to take a step forward. We've got to be utilizing kingdom principles in our businesses, in our lives, and we got to step up with some integrity because the world is trying to take over, and I ain't gonna allow it to happen.
So, what is your ideal client? Who is your ideal client, rather?
Yeah, so I would say that my ideal client, his name is actually Fred. That's what I named him, and he is about 45 years old. He thinks that he knows it all, but he's humble enough to know that he's stuck, and he can't communicate to people the way that he thinks he should. And so that person is a business owner. They may be in the business realm. They're probably an entrepreneur because they're a little hard headed. Most entrepreneurs are a little hard headed, and he probably goes from introvert to extrovert. I say all these things because this is truly my like I have a 2-page document that's my ideal client. This is what I'm talking about, how important it is to be clear as to who you're talking to. It's important because if you don't know exactly who you're talking to, you will never find them. And so my ideal client is exactly that 45-year-old man that thinks he knows it all in the business world, but isn't getting the traction that he thinks. Why? Because he's too intellectual and he's trying to sell with facts instead of stories. And so once you bring your personality and you stop marketing first and you start branding first, it changes everything.
You are speaking to my heart. I can relate to that 45-year-old in, in some areas. You are speaking to my heart. I think that's why I'm like, oh my God, this is so real. But it definitely speaks to my heart because you're right. We can, especially as old as I am, you can definitely. I'm older than that 45-year-old man, but and so my 56-year-old self is definitely feel like sometimes that intellect can be an issue. You are so right. Can get in the way. Intellect can get in the way. Sometimes I have to get out of my own head to move forward and say, you too in your head.
That analysis paralysis will get you every time.
Yes, it will. It kind of stunts you from moving forward too, because you're like, it gotta be perfect. It gotta be perfect. Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely
Done is better than perfect.
Yes, that is so true. So let me ask you, how is your son doing now?
Yeah, so my son is in a treatment facility still. He's been in there for about 2 years. It's about 2 years now, and this facility, and he still has his ups and downs. But he's in a safe place. He's in a structured place. He's about an hour away, and I get to see him. I usually try and see him every other weekend because I have to go on campus to be able to see him. And then my other kids live 3.5 hours away with my ex-wife. So I try and see them once a month. So, just in my free time,
Okay,
just
yeah,
travel, see my
yeah,
kids.
absolutely. How you doing with all of that?
You know, it's something that, again, unless you experience it, you can't understand. But I have such a freedom, such a peace
That's
about me. There's no heaviness about it because the Lord told me at the end of my divorce, when my ex had an affair, He said, "Devin, I want you to know and remember that I love your kids more than you do. And I know
mm,
you don't understand and you can't understand that, but if you'll give them to me, I will make sure that they are not a burden on your shoulders." And that is exactly what I have felt. No matter what struggles they've gone through, no matter what heartaches, what charges they've gotten, all those types of things, it's like, okay, cool. How do we move forward? Like it's not even a thing. It's just like, okay, God, you're in control. You do what you can do, and I'm gonna continue to be the dad and loving that I can for them, with them, alongside of them. And we're the best of representation to our kids that God can have on them.
that is so true. I just really want to thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
It has been a privilege. I signed up for your next event. I'm excited about it, and I'm excited about us, working together in the future. With how I don't know how it look, but I'm trusting God in that as well.
Amen.
And just really, you are a shining light to the world, and just keep doing what you're doing. And I'll definitely continue to keep your son in prayer. And I say that not just frivolously. I do have a prayer app that I keep up with. And not I like it because I get to say, oh, he answered this. No, no, but
Mm-hmm.
I like that. So I do like to add people to my prayer list because God knows them better than I do. And I just want to thank you so much. So I will say, if you could tell your audience, even though I do have it in my YouTube channel, all of the links. I have all of your links in my that you provided for me in my YouTube channel. What would your last words you would like to say to my audience and my listeners?
Yeah. Yeah. So my signature part is what God told me, and it is that each and every one of you are leaders. You're leading somebody somewhere. So look behind you and see who's behind you. And each leader is created to be a legend. You're made to make a difference in the world. And every legend is made to be to leave a legacy. And that legacy starts right now.
Awesome. Awesome wisdom. That is so true. Thank you so much for coming on. And thank you to my audience. Thank you so much for listening today. I just want to say that if you felt this was something that you learned anything from, or really know someone who can benefit, please do share and subscribe to my channel. I may have so much more for you to learn and grow, and because I'm bringing on other people and their perspectives and their wisdom. God didn't give it to one person, so I want to share the light to the world. So thank you so much for listening. We are signing off.